That's real solid right there, and it sounds good. Is everything muted, or is that the only thing?
Everything. I mean, it's all.
I'm Raiquan Thomas, and I'm from Portsmouth, Virginia. Portsmouth is a small city in Virginia. Not too many people know of it. It's beside Norfolk, Newport News. It's a middle-class, low-income area. It's not a great city. You know, many people wouldn't consider it as a great city. So Portsmouth has definitely humbled me and taught me, like, made me appreciate struggling. Hey, the struggle is not who you are. The struggle is, what do you use the struggle to define you? How do you use the struggle to define you? So I'm thankful for the city.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You wanna go first? Oh yeah.
Got it.
Oh yeah. Whoa. Yo. All I wanted was $100 million in a bad chick. Hold on, that's a rap. I had to steal it. Now I'm going ratchet. Niggas so ratchet. Put me back. Now I'm going ratchet. Now she's so ratchet. Why she so ratchet?
Last time we talked, you were like, yeah, I think I'm going to go try some things and do some new stuff. And then, like, in the intervening time, it's just been like a tsunami of material you've been working on, man. So can you tell us a little bit about what's been going on over there?
So, you know, I'm in Harrisonburg, Virginia. So last time we talked, I was like, you know, Dr. Jackson was saying, y'all need to be doing websites, like, get your stuff, your content out there. So I'm like, okay, Dr. Jackson, let me go try to build a website. I started making a website on Squarespace. Didn't know what I was doing. It took me about a week. Basically, I grabbed the content that JMU did, marketed of me, put that all on the website, put the opera, the rapping. Now I'm doing photography.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, all that, just saying, hey, if anybody needs any of these services, reach out to me. I'm down to help.
Yeah. And has that have
I've been
you?
grinding, man.
You have been grinding. I've seen you've actually already had some clients, like right off the bat. I've seen you
Yeah.
been posting some things. So. It's so. I mean, look, man, it's really inspiring for me to see somebody do that. Because one of the, I mean, just like Dr. Jackson was saying, she and I are on the same page about that, is that we have to be ready to create our own opportunities right now. And if we can't, you know, we can't sit around and wait on people to tell us what to do or give us ideas, because frankly, most of the ideas they have, they've already tried. They've done them.
Cool.
They've been doing it for 50 years. So some of the new ideas, I think, are where the future of what we're all going to be doing is. And it's not going to be just about opera singing. It's not going to be just about, you know, photography, or it's going to be everything that you do as an artist will be your new product. And it's really inspiring to see you take that bull by the horns and just go for it, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, you have to push yourself. No one's going to push you to do it.
Yeah.
No, so you have to encourage yourself. Hey, I can do this, you know, and you can do it. You don't have to pay anyone. You can do it yourself. You know, that's the best thing about technology these days is I think sometimes we're so scared to do something of our own because we think of, I mean, we're artists, so we think about what everybody else is going to think before we think of, well, what do we want to do? So like Kelly Clarkson said, make a wish, take a chance, make a change, and break away. Like, you got to do it. You got to do it.
I believe that music can change the world. I believe it has changed the world, and I believe that we still got a long way to go, but it's just this feeling you get when you make the music and when you hear the music that just inspires generations, you know. No matter what the genre is, I feel like music tells a story that plays a part in all of our lives, whether it's heartbreak, love, divorce, anything. It all tells a story and makes us believe that something greater is out there.
Do it.
Well, in some of your work, I've noticed, like you say, make a change, and I've noticed that there's been an activist bent to a lot of what you've been doing, and you've been using your momentum for a goal that's not necessarily selfish or artistic or at all. It's something, or it's a combination of artistic and activist. So, I've been watching these videos of you leading these rallies and whatnot, and I think it's really great. Could you tell us about what's been going on with that particular aspect of your Corona times?
There's been about 5 or 6 protests in Harrisonburg. There's been one in Harrisonburg, Virginia, Oakton, Virginia, which is known as, like, they have a lot of KKK members there.
Yeah.
Broadway, Virginia, which was like wild. It was like the most like scary.
Really?
protest. Yeah, it was scary. So let me explain the Oakton one. So
please.
the youth of Harrisonburg. So this is the youth planning this. They're just inviting me to you know, rap and like say a few words and stuff. But shout out to the youth of Harrisonburg, the youth of Elkton, the youth of Broadway for putting this together. These are like kids and
Yeah.
when this high school kids putting this together, which is dope.
I mean, they're the future, man. We should be listening
Literally.
really close.
Right. So in Elkton, so first protest I performed at was in June in Elkton, Virginia. So I'm like, okay, it's a protest. I'm not nervous. It's like a performance. Came up there, guys with guns everywhere. I've never seen nothing like it. I never seen so many white people with guns because they thought we were about to destroy the place.
Yeah.
You know, and then there was a lot of de-escalators out there too, which is, I'm lying, this is all new to me. I've never seen nothing like this in my life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got kids with, what's it called? Protection, like
bulletproof vests and whatnot.
yeah,
right?
bulletproof
Kevlar vests.
vest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, what in the world is going on?
What are they preparing for? What do they think's going to happen? Like, hey guys, you're the only ones with guns. I don't think you need the vest.
Literally. You know, you got the police on the side. They don't even want to be involved for real.
Yeah.
You know, the police are in the back chilling, you know. So it's like, I didn't even know it was legal for people to like carry armed militia. So it was like, wow. So
well, if you're gonna play the role, you got to wear the costume.
Right. I mean, Elkton thought we were going to destroy it. I mean, they must have thought we were. I guess because I don't remember what park we were at, but I think whatever park we were at had something to do with like Confederacy and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So they thought
chances are good. Every park in the South has some sort of Confederate tie,
and I'm sure there were some KKK members out there.
Yeah,
you know, but I got on stage. I performed my song "Changed Up" for my album. And my song, I think it was "Time Out," from one of it's a single I released a long time ago. And then you just hear all these people yelling, "Blue Lives Matter," blah blah blah, "Blue Lives Matter." And look, and I told them like, we got like my dad was killed by a cop. You know what I'm saying? Like I personally have experience. You know,
My dad was killed by a police officer. So that was 2001. So I was 5 years old. I could have used that story as an excuse not to make it. Dad wasn't here. Dad wasn't in my life. Boo-hoo. You know what I'm saying? I could have used that story as like, I can't do it. If he couldn't do it, I couldn't do it. But I used that to drive me. I knew I wanted to have a better life. I had to graduate high school. I had to be the first one to graduate college. It's God, man. It's no credit to me. It's God. Without him, I wouldn't be able to do it.
It's okay, I'm good. I'm alright, I'm fine. It's okay, I'm good. I'm alright, I'm fine.
I feel like God was always there. I feel like it's a father-son relationship. Because I lost my father, he became my father. And I actually allowed him to become my father, even though God was my father the whole time.
You know, whether my dad was in a right or wrong, he was murdered by a cop, killed by a cop. You know what I'm saying? I talked to my grandma about it. She believes it was overkill, you know what I'm saying? And my dad made mistakes. Like, my dad wasn't perfect. He made mistakes.
yeah.
And a lot of people make mistakes, but I don't think he should have been killed, you know?
The death penalty is kind
so-
of a severe punishment for petty crime, or any crime, or none. You don't even need to commit a crime.
Right.
I mean, can you speak a little bit
Yeah,
about that,
you just-
Raiquan, about what happened and about how that sort of affected
dad?
your artistic expression and your activism and just kind of the way you had to spend your emotional and political and psychological capital.
Right. So my dad was killed in 2001, Gary Clater Jr. Was killed in 2001 by a state trooper. What happened was, well, this is the news article said. It's like felon, they call my dad a felon pretty much. And basically he had unmarked, was it plates or something, tags or something?
His tags were expired.
Tags were expired, right?
Yeah.
He's in Norfolk. And a police chase began. My dad's like running from Portsmouth to Newport News to Williamsburg, you know. I guess when they tried to stop him, they said he hit the cop or something. I don't really know, because my grandma said it's like two sides to the story, and I really don't know what actually happened. They say he hit the cop, and then the officer opened fire.
Yeah.
You know, when I talked to my mom about it, she's like, they were just pissed that they couldn't stop him and stuff.
Yeah.
And then my grandma was like, yo, he made mistakes, you know? And it's like, so now me battling these battles is like, okay, did my dad really hit him? Like, where's my mama said they didn't even have cameras back then.
Yeah, there's no body cam.
How do we even know what happened, you know? So it's just like,
When you see so many, I mean, especially a guy your age, you know, in the past 10 years of your life as an adult, it's been sort of a constant deluge of these stories about unarmed black men being pulled over and murdered for whatever reason, and sometimes it's we're just sleeping in their apartment or something, and the door gets kicked out, and bam, they're dead. You know, and exactly. And so, as somebody who's been saturated with these stories, you can't help but look back at your own personal narrative and think, what about this is true? Because there's no evidence, there's no body cam. We just take the cops' word for it.
Right. If there was no evidence of my dad doing that or anything, you know, and I told her she think it was overkill. You know, she actually believes that. And it's like, and then, you know, because I always thought in my head it was my dad's fault because based on the article, you know, and based on my grandma, the NAACP reached out to her. They didn't want to do an investigation. She was just, I mean, that was her only son. So it's like, I don't think she wanted to go through all that, especially doing it in 2001. They didn't have like social media stuff like it is now. I feel like if it was now, it would have been a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like, I don't want to bring the investigation. I mean, he's been dead for what, 19 years? So it's like, I just want to let him rest in peace and keep carrying on the mission.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even though he passed away, it shaped me to be the man I am today. You know, my senior year of high school, my grandma lost a job. She was sick. So we went homeless, you know, like this is like February of 2014 and I graduate May of 2014.
Yeah.
During that time, I'm sleeping at a friend's house. I've grinded and made over $500,000 in scholarships, which is like, it shows like, hey, there's no excuse. You can go out here and get the bag and you can actually do it, you know? And that's when I went to JMU. I chose JMU for the School of Music and got the full ride, which is like a blessing. But it's like, I really believe like, wow, yo, I didn't make an excuse for my dad being gone. I didn't make an excuse for not having a lot of money. I kept persevering. And that's hard for a lot of people to do, especially where I'm from.
Yeah. So when I work on these stories about military issues and families and stuff, there's this inclination by pop culture and by even, you know, what we do, classical music or whatever, to focus on the big success story. You know, look, John McCain became a senator. And he was a prisoner of war, and we love to lift those stories up because they're remarkable and because they triumphed over something.
Right.
So you know, whenever we use that, whenever you hear like, oh look, so and so did great, why can't you? You know, it's a weird sort of it's weird. It's like, well, but everybody wants to talk about the success, but what about the litany of people that just get left behind? How do you reach them? And do you feel like that is that what you've been doing, is sort of reaching out to people, being like, yeah, you know, it's all well and good to talk about how great things, you know, for one person are, but here's how you can do this, and here's how you can come along with me, and here's how you can take this step for yourself, you know?
Right. And that's my struggle with, and I've talked to Jermaine Water Jr. about, you know, Jermaine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've talked to Jermaine about this. It's like, bro, why does it feel like we're the only ones that made it out and had the opportunity? Because of governor school. Like, I wouldn't have nothing. I wouldn't have known how to sing opera without governor school.
Yeah.
But it's only a few. It's like crabs in a barrel. It's only a few of us that make it out. It's only a few.
Yeah.
You know, it's so many kids with so much talent that have gone through even worse situations than me. And they can't even get out because they just don't get the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the hard part for me, accepting like, wow, I was one of the only few that went through hell and seen a taste of, wow, this is the American dream. You know, like, this is what I can do.
If I was talking to a minority that's struggling right now, don't know what they want to do with their lives, really not knowing who they are. My advice to you is to keep your head up and to know like you're not alone in this this journey in your life. These cycles through your life, like everything that you're going through right now is to make you something better than you can even imagine. And my advice to you is just to keep going. Don't stop. If you believe that dream is going to make it, just go for it.
What does it look like when you go out to do these protests and whatnot? What is it?
Oh yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah. So let me tell you about Broadway, Virginia. Man, I come into Broadway. I'm driving to Broadway. It's like 20 minutes from Harrisonburg. I come across a bridge because we're performing at a park. These kids are talking, giving their testimonies about what they're going through school. You got all these like hillbillies. I'm not racist. I hope they don't come off as racist. You got all these like.
It's accurate.
Like, yeah, these guys with guns. I mean, guns galore. Just walking across the bridge when everybody's entering to go to their protest. So boy, we get on stage. So no, this is before I get on stage. We kneel for George Floyd for 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
Yeah.
All you hear this: Black lives don't matter. Don't kneel for a criminal. Don't kneel for a criminal. I mean, some guy is back there yelling this for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Don't kneel for a criminal. And then you got other people saying Black lives won't matter in a minute. I mean, dude, it was the most uncomfortable thing I think I've ever been through in my life.
God dang. That's hella brave,
Don't kneel
man.
for a criminal.
I don't
So
know how
I
you
get on
do it.
stage. I'm like,
Look,
I'm like,
can I pause you for a second and just say, like, it's hard enough. We know what performing is like. Performing isn't easy. And whenever we walk out on stage in the big fancy opera house with all these people out there in their Rolexes and just drove up in their Rolls Royces and whatnot, and of course there's other folks too, but you know what I'm talking about. They're there to get it. They're already in. So you have the most hostile audience you could possibly imagine out there trying to undo everything you're doing while you're doing it. Now that's a different kind of crucible to go through to get your point made, isn't it?
yeah, it was crazy. And you got the de-escalators in the back trying to keep these people away from the majority of the people that are there supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, supporting that Black Lives do matter. So, I mean, just hearing that "don't kneel for a criminal" was like traumatizing because it's like this man was brutally murdered. Yeah. It was a lynching on TV. It's like TV, a modern day lynching, and just to hear the disrespect was like, wow. And then everybody's silent and just this man on the top of his lungs with every might. It's like he was singing, "Don't kneel for a criminal," like crazy. So I get on stage. I'm like, after my song, I'm like, "Black Lives Matter." Like, I'm going crazy. I'm just like, I need everybody to say it. I need everybody to say it. Because it was like anger and passion at the same time. Because it was just wild. It was just like, I'm just like, "Arrest the cops that killed Breonna," and everybody just repeating it. It's like a song. It's like a magical if you think about it. It's just everybody's repeating it.
Listen up. Repeat after me, all right? Hey, yeah. Arrest the cops that killed Breonna. 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 Arrest the cops that killed. I can't hear y'all. Arrest the cops that killed Breonna. A what? The cops that killed Breonna. What? The cops that killed. I can't hear y'all. What? The cops that killed Breonna. Arrest the cops that killed Breonna.
That's. I mean, I feel like being a performer as a tightrope walking, it's pretty brave anyway. But I can't imagine walking out and I've done Dead Man Walking in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I thought I was really doing something.
I love that.
To walk out and do a Black Lives Matter protest and lead it, and then say, in front of a bunch of Klansmen out there with guns.
You played the game.
I don't think I've ever really performed before. I don't think.
Were you
Do what?
Were you Jake?
Oh, Joseph.
Were you Jake?
Joseph DeRoche, yeah.
Joseph, sorry.
Jake's the composer.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, Joseph. Ooh, that's a hard role, man. I don't know how you did it.
But I mean, again, I didn't have anybody screaming at me while I did it. You know, the hardest, the most static I ever encountered was in New Orleans when I did a talk back and somebody didn't, you know, everybody knew the people that were murdered there. I mean, everybody did. It was a big story. And I got this lady screaming at me, I hope he's in hell, burning and crackling in the fires of hell. And I drive by his goddamn grave every day and fuck him. And I'm like, okay, I can take that. At least it's not about me. But you're doing something very personal. And fighting for something that you believe in. And man, it just, I have so much respect for you, man. That's just incredible.
Thank you, man. It's hard, especially because I'm like the only black male out there.
Yeah.
Like performing wise, I'm the only black male.
Yeah.
You know, like performing. So it's kind of like, ooh, all these white people. Like I see more white people in the crowd than black, and I'm like, I wonder why. I don't know if it's because of the population. Maybe my fellow black people are scared to come out. You know, because I would be.
Dude, I'll tell you this story. When I was a kid playing football, it's funny, but Calvin Vincent is my coach, which I was looking back, you know, trying to figure out who this guy was. When I walked up to my first football practice, I was one of like 4 white kids on the whole team, you know. Yeah, it was a little bit of a different situation for good old boy from Cut and Shoot.
Right.
My parents, being the good team parents that they were, would always like do the big football banquet at the end of the year. They come out, you know, we have everybody come out to the farm. And, you know, the farm's in Cut and Shoot, Texas, and known, this is just a place that, you know, black folks didn't really go to a lot, to tell you the truth. And when we had the announcement, we had 4 or 5 kids that didn't come just because they were told you don't go to that city. You know, you just don't go there. And so being like, being around these people that for whom that's sort of their daily bread, and it's something they look back on and go, that's right. And that's got to be a crazy, I don't know, it's really hard for me to articulate this kind of stuff because it's so intense and it's so complex. And I'm trying to figure out a way, you know, to try to explain to people how terrible it is. Right. To be met by a tide of just hatred and anger. I mean, we had the Ku Klux Klan demonstrate at our high school. Did a bus embargo around our high school. I've been looking since we went back and since we had our conversation. You know, one of the things that really sort of convicted me is I wanted to go back and look at the legacy of my own county with respect to racism, and it was a nightmarish journey. I'm reading a book right now called White Lies about an African American janitor at my high school in the '80s that was framed for rape, and he was finally exonerated, but then he died like 6 weeks after his exoneration. So you know, it was kind of, and you know, growing up in a place like that, what's weird for me is like when you talk about these guys that were set up there to shout you guys down and basically to intimidate, to suppress, to make you quiet, to keep your voice down. For so many people in our world, you know, in this opera world or classical world or whatever, they don't really have an understanding of that mindset. Having been somebody who had that mindset drummed into my head from an early age, you know, it's a different, when you're talking about these guys, I can see them and I know what's been in their heads. I know what they're putting at you. And it's, you know, I know a lot of people say, oh, they're just misguided. They just need a little bit more education. But at some point, it must be so frustrating to be doing what you're doing and knowing that you can literally show them in Technicolor the evidence. It's right there on your computer screen. You cannot look away. You cannot deny what happened.
Right.
And yet still, they want to think that it's justified to take a black man's life, no matter how small the infraction. And that kind of mentality doesn't come from learning. It doesn't come from deep introspection. That just comes from hating other people, period. And thinking that everybody that's not in my group is below me.
Yep.
And the only way to keep them quiet is to show up at their protest with guns when none of them have guns. None of you guys have guns,
And these
right?
are kids leading it.
Yeah.
They're harassing
Grown-ass people. Grown-ass people with their guns and bulletproof vests out there shouting down a bunch of teenagers and people in their 20s.
Yep. It was it's crazy, man.
It must give you a little bit. It must give you a little bit of encouragement to know that you're making such a strong mark and a strong statement. Otherwise, they wouldn't be out there.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool. I mean, kind of, because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're all gonna know my name. I mean, because Harrisonburg been like putting papers out and stuff, like, you know, like articles and stuff about the protests and including me in it and stuff. But I'm like, I can't live in fear. Like, I gotta do what I'm called to do, you know. And it's like opera. Not everybody's not called to do opera, you know. Like,
That's for sure. I don't know. I'm not sure I am.
no, you definitely are. Definitely are. Oh my god. But we just gotta keep going, man, and staying strong. And we still need to arrest the cops that killed Breonna. Like, what? I don't know what's taking so long. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Our country is like in shambles.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse. I mean, COVID is going up. These college students are about to come back. It's going to get even worse. And then we got the election.
Yeah. We're in for a hell of a rocky ride in the next couple of months.
Next couple months going to be crazy.
So what do you have planned for this coming up time? I mean, are you gonna drill down into this to your activism and really try to
like
push
if they
this
have more
message out?
protests and stuff, I'm definitely going to do that. I'm definitely like trying to push the brand, raise ambition, because I want to make it a nonprofit one day.
Yeah.
And actually give back to the kids, you know, scholarships for the kids and stuff. So I'm looking up information about that, learning how I can do that. And because I just want to inspire creativity. Like, I don't think I'm called to do opera or just opera. You know, I want to get the whole, like, just arts out there.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we put ourselves in a box as artists and we shouldn't.
No.
You know?
I mean, one of the things during COVID that I've been doing is getting back to my entry point into music. And so Megan and I have been playing like country and bluegrass music. That's what I grew up playing. That's it's a little blues, a little Grateful Dead for her, you know. You were moving around. But, you know, I did a concert for Central City Opera with just this music. And there was a little bit of opera dropped in, but in a country way.
Nice.
And it was so personal, right? It was so me. You know, there was no artivist. They took my superpower was gone because it wasn't like I could sing in a house full of 3,000 people and be like, look how large my voice is. Impressive. Are you fearing my power, my vocal power? And that's kind of what we all, I mean, if we're honest about it, that's what makes opera sort of unique. You know, rule number one, you got to be heard. And so, you know, they took away our superpower, and all you have is the essence. All you have is your artistic expression, your vulnerability in saying, you know, open up and look at me. And I feel like it was always easy for me to do that with country, gospel, bluegrass music. I could do that just like that. With opera, it was always this long journey of trying to get to that place. And, you know, I always felt like I got about halfway there all the time. Even though the audience they loved it, you know, people were like, I forgot I was in opera, that's all that stuff. But it's that connection to what I am as an artist and how I express myself through music. And I mean, it sounds like to me that's exactly what you're doing right now. You're doing you're doing Raiquan and what you are and what your expression is. And I love to see that, man. It's like I want to see Raiquan. I don't want to see Raiquan as Don Giovanni. You know, I mean, I do someday, of course, or whatever, when we get back to going back on the stage.
Right.
But I mean, I can see Don Giovanni's, but I want to see you as it. I want to see, and at some point, you can take away that artifice, the costumes, and all that stuff, and it's just you.
Yep.
And do you feel like that's what you're doing now? Is it just you? This is Raiquan.
Yeah, I'm just like I feel like in college, like, I was like Raiquan, rap Raiquan, R&B Raiquan, then I was opera Raiquan. So I felt like I was struggling with identity issues because I went to an all-white school pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, why do y'all call me Ray instead of Raiquan? You know, I didn't just get that until like a year ago. You know, I'm like, why are they?
What is Ray short for? Is it short for Raymond? No, it's not short for Raymond.
Like, why are y'all calling me Ray instead of Raiquan?
Yeah.
And so it's like work for people, you know. So like, listen, like little stuff. It's like, you know, and it's like, does a degree really? Like, it's like, oh, what school you go to? That's the first. Like, I get like, is that the only thing people care about now? Is where you at?
Pedigree.
You know, people don't care about. They care about the pedigrees. If you ain't go to this school, if you don't got no degree, it's like, oh, why am I talking to you?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But the way you get around that is doing exactly what you're doing.
Right.
You take all of their hoity-toity bullshit they teach you,
right,
and take that and just use it however the hell you want to use it.
Right.
You know.
Right. So, yeah, man.
Have you been doing any? Have you done any exploration into combining the two genres in some way?
That's on the way.
Yeah, I thought you might be.
I'm thinking about like sampling some opera, we singing some stuff.
Yeah.
In like a creative way, make it dope with like some trap beats. And
I mean, I've seen some people make some attempts, and it's okay.
Yeah,
but it's not serious. You know, a lot of it's sort of like funny and stuff. And I want to hear you fucking get into the heavy stuff.
He's like a rapper. He's like an opera singer and rap. Bartholomew. I don't know his name. So good. I'll send it to you when I find out. But
I love to hear. I mean, when you start getting things going, man, let me know because I'll do what I can.
I'll put you up there.
You what?
Dude, I can sample you. My boys to throw some instrumentals up there and rap about what's going on today. You know, because I feel like these dudes back in the day, they just put on the costume and the mask, but it wasn't the real them. You know, so, and I feel like artists we're scared to show our real selves.
Yeah. And
whatever we do, we're scared. We're scared about what people say because the money depends on what we do. So it's like, that's crazy, man.
Well, there was a big thing.
Like, I'm sure you go through it a lot, like auditioning. Like, they're looking for something particular. You know, they're looking for this type of person. And it's politics like crazy, man.
I'm super fortunate, right? Because I'm really lucky and privileged to have the career that I have. Because I really, in 2009, I went through a pretty severe breakdown. It was terrible and life-changing. You know, literally, like my life is going like, and this boom, just gone off the complete different deep end. And I'd sort of decided at that point that I was just going to be Mike Mays as hard as Mike Mays was going to Mike Mays. I was going to work. I was going to throw the suit out, get rid of the ties, shave the goatee off, you know, right. And just be like, you know, just as country as I was. So I wore cowboy boots and stuff, and I got a lot of static. George Shirley got mad at me for auditioning at the George Londons without any tie. He's like, if I have to wear a tie, you have to wear a tie.
Oh my God.
Lectured me good. And but because of where my particular style, my style and ease fit within American pop culture and American society, it was acceptable for me to express myself that way. So I was fortunate because I was one of the okay versions of non-Ivory Tower America to express. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that opera and American society was very comfortable with black artists in a very certain role expressing their experience. I'm comfortable with you in jazz doing that. I'm comfortable with you in rap and R&B. Just stay in that zone.
Yep.
And don't try to do anything of that over here, because over here we like everything to be nice and homogenous. And we'll let this, you know, this redneck over here do his thing, but we're not going to let him do the real big stuff. We'll let him get a little bit. But we want you guys to stay over here and make sure you keep your rap and your stuff and your activism over on this side. And don't make sure none of that comes over here in the opera world. Now, though, of course, I'm speaking in generalities. There are, of course, projects that explored it. But am I on base there? Does it feel?
No, it makes sense. And it's like, who says there can be opera and rap in something? That's going to come. And I don't think the opera world is ready for that. I don't. I think it's gonna. They don't want to cross those people are not. Those donors are not ready to cross that. They like their, you know, their regular, you know, pieces. Like their Mozart, you know, with an all-white cast. You know, put one black person in there.
Just at least one. Yeah, make sure he's not Don Giovanni though.
If it's Cozy Fan Tuesday, you know, you can put a black guy, Don Alfonso, you know, and you know they try to do little stuff, but I mean, they need to diversify everything now. I mean, you know, they need to.
Well, I mean, if you're doing it, I mean, I've been telling a lot of folks in some of these master classes I do, you know, if you're looking for leadership, if you're looking for a way to point the boat, don't talk to the old guy. I mean, I'm 44. Even I'm a little bit. I'm you know, I'm not ancient for the opera world, but I'm starting to move into that place where I'm more married to tradition, or I'm more married to the older models than I even know about the newer stuff. Mm-hmm. You are so connected into that particular part of culture right now. Right. And I really applaud you. And I'm going to encourage you to please keep going with that, man. Take that. And if anything that we can do over here at Dallas Opera or at the Quick to sort of, I mean, you know, I do quick takes and things like that. So if you have a little shout out or a little thing that you're going to be promoting, if you have a release coming or something like that, and I want you to let us know so we can let everybody know.
For sure.
Because we need to amplify your voice, and we need to make sure that you know, one of the most frustrating things is to see a beautiful talent, a great voice, an inspiring leader drowned out by the Kardashians or whatever bullshit that we're focusing out here in the world, instead of focusing on what really is good art and what needs to be heard. So whatever I can do to amplify that message, man, let me know. You're the man.
I hope Kanye doesn't really run for president. Hey, man, it's going to be
Me too.
It's going to be a rough year. It's going to be a rough 4 months.
I like Go Easy. You know, I know he's low.
Did you see his? He had like kind of like a press conference in South Carolina. He was like crying and everything.
He's gonna sell some records, man. That's what. Politics is like business.
Just one of his episodes. I'm like, okay, if Kanye wins, he doubted Donald Trump.
If we get President Kanye, it might be awesome. The music could be good.
National anthem gonna have some adult bass line.
Yeah,
it's gonna sample the national anthem. It's gonna be crazy.
Maybe we should just change it anyway. It's a terrible song. Well, Raiquan, is there anything you want to add so we make sure we didn't miss anything? Make sure folks know. Can you tell us like your website and what's coming in the future and what you got going on?
Yeah, so I got a new website, Rays, RAYS, Ambition, AMBITION.com.
You can see it right there. We'll put it at the bottom of the page. Right there.
Pictures, all that stuff. I even got a donation box. So if anybody wants to donate to any projects I'm doing, I got all that stuff up there. And yeah, feel free to inbox me anything. I would love to connect with people out there in the artistic world or anything. I would love to connect with people. So,
and is your music on there as well?
My music's up there. I got my new album, Changed Up. I just released in May. It's on Spotify and iTunes. Just search Raiquan.
Yeah.
It's RAIQUAN. So yeah.
Awesome, man.
And it's on too. So.
Well, as things come along, just let me know and send me a blast so we can let everybody else out there know what's going on with Raiquan. And I can't wait to see what you got coming in down the pipeline. It's going to be an exciting time, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support too. For reaching out to me.
Hey, it's my pleasure every time.
Is this the one we're making beats, man. I love this part, man. It's just amazing. Okay? Like the creative part of like creating stuff is amazing, bro. Like you gotta get into it. I don't care if you're a weatherman, you gotta be a creative. You know what I'm saying? Like go do it. Like chase your dream. Like don't let nobody stop it.
Ashes to ashes, dust in the dust. Do I swallow my pride or do I